you know, you're in high school, so you don't really have many people that are, I want to say not talented, but they're just coming into their talents. So I would guide a lot of people into being rappers by helping them write. I would guide a lot of people into understanding the business by trying to figure out how other people structure their business. And before you know it, I kind of had this crew of like kids from the high school that was rocking with me because, you know, I brought everyone together. And in that time, that's when I started to get a lot more creative because I would make production for people to rap on, but then I felt like if nobody's as good as me, that's the competitive spirit in me. So now I introduced myself into being my own artist. And, you know, so I think without Long Island or without that Long Island factor in my life, I would have, that side of the artistic side probably wouldn't existed.
Absolutely. That's fucking dope because you could have gone a completely different route. You could have just said, well, I mean, you know, I don't have this, I don't have that. I'm just going to sell drugs and I'm going to make money and support everybody that I know and love. But you chose to take a route. You followed your heart. And I love and respect that, man.
Appreciate that.
So you take me back to This Is Why I'm Hot came out. Number one. Ringtones is fucking jumping off. Everything is going well into your app. That transition, because that's a lot of artists don't go that route.
Yeah. So I'll rewind back. So This Is Why I'm Hot. I built that record based on two things. One, obviously, my you know, I wanted to be. I wanted to figure out. During the time, music was shifting in a certain direction, and I kind of wanted to create something that moved at the same speed that music was then. And then a lot of that was frustration. So I'm this New York artist. I'm doing somewhat commercial records, but then somewhat underground records. And I didn't really have a place to fit in. At the time, New York wasn't that place that was looked at musically. You had a lot of areas in the South that were like prevailing, like Atlanta, South Florida, the whole Florida region. You know, I had a lot of cats on the West Coast doing their thing. But New York, we were stuck in this whole if it ain't New York sound, then it's not gonna work out. You can't, you know. And I was frustrated in the studio one day. My former manager's name is Christian Fields. He came in with this beat CD, and it had a lot of like Southern sound beats. And I remember hearing the tracks, and they were hot. Don't get me wrong. And I remember freestyling. Like I said to myself, man, you know, instead of me doing records about President Obama or, you know, hard times in the hood, I'm just gonna do something that just is natural, comes to mind. And I started freestyling. I said, "This is why I'm hot." And then I said, "Well, what comes after that?" Well, no, this is why I'm hot. This is why. This is why. This is why I'm hot. And I just kept saying it. And I ended up recording it as a joke, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
So the irony. And then lo and behold, like, you know, a few months passed by with the record. And I had a friend of mine, well, actually a DJ I was working with at the time, who's also my co-founder now, DJ Blackout, reproduce the track for what people know what it is now. And I took it to radio, and they loved it. So in Florida, by the way. So this is in the South. So I'm a New York artist, and I'm bubbling in the South. You know, one station adds it, another adds it, and before you know it, you know, I got probably one of the biggest underground unsigned records. Couple of labels get wind, and they want to wheel and deal now after being told no my whole career. So it was one of those situations. Things happened faster than there's a starving artist period where we respect. I'm sure you can understand where you're trying to get in.
Yeah.
And then when it just happens. Like you literally explode. So I just remember, as much as it is, it's definitely a blur. So like 2006, we put the record out. 2007, the record becomes the #1 record in the country. And honestly, I've been on the road pretty much ever since then, just touring and moving around. So let's talk about the real part of this, though.
Okay.
This Is Why I'm Hot, successful record. I think we were grossing $250,000 a week. But my first check, like 9 months in, I got my first check statement from the label, and it was like, I don't know, 30 grand. So
yeah.
So I'm sitting here like $30,000. Wait a minute. And mind you, I just went out and bought a drop top, $100,000 BMW drop top.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking I got a couple $1 million promised to me, and it was a $30,000 check. And at that point, I was like disgusted with just the whole, because here I am on this high, riding this big wave,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then the thing that pulls me down is the same company I'm working with, the
Right.
same company I partner with. Not haters, not doubters, in which I had a lot of those, but the pull down factor was this company that I partnered with. And I remember um looking at that situation and saying, damn, $30,000, all the blood, sweat, and tears I put in, all the stuff that I sacrificed, all the times that I sat in the studio and wanted to make something of it. My past situations with my parents passing away, the reason why I
Mhm.
got into music,
Mhm.
and this is what the outcome is. I didn't want to record another record after that. Like, I never wanted to touch music again.
Hmm.
And I remember 2009, 2010, after I put the second album out, I said, you know what? I got to do something about what happened to me so
Mhm.
that I can help guide the artists of the future, so that they don't go through this again. And what easier way to do it than something I'm passionate about, which is technology. And that's kind of how I segued into technology and creating the Creator app.
Perfectly smooth. You don't even
Yeah.
need me here. I'm like, that was my next question, but you got it already.
Yeah.
So the technology. Tell us more about your app.
So, Creator app was designed to allow anyone anywhere in the world to utilize their cell phone as a recording studio.
Mhm.
What makes it different from other apps out there is that I allow them to collaborate with award-winning producers.
Dope.
So for example, just for those who listen and who don't understand the music world, when I came in, it was, you wanted to work with a producer, you got to pay that guy $5,000,
Mhm.
$10,000. You got to pay the studio, $200-$300 an hour. You got to pay the engineer to mix it. You got to pay so you go through this whole phase of paying people, and before you know it, you're out 15, 20 grand,
Mhm.
and you don't even know if you got a record that's worthy of being put out. And trust me, I had a lot of material that fell under that category. And I'm a I guess a preteen. I'm a teenager going into my young adolescent age. So talking about spending that much amount of money is ridiculous for
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to democratize that whole process. I wanted to allow people to record without spending that much. So what I do is I go out and I vet producers. They upload their music onto the platform. We have a tier where you can download a record anywhere from free all the way up to $4.99. You get to kind of, I like to say, try it before you buy it, or
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
that's the right thing to use. They rap. They use their phone. They rap to it. They can send that song out to all their friends, share it across the social sites, or they can actually cut a video to it, share it on Instagram or all these other social sites that we have nowadays. So it's a great utility tool, and it also serves as an artist discovery platform.
That's great, man. You're
Yeah.
creating opportunities for people that may not financially have all the utilities available to them, but they may have this skill and they might get discovered that way.
Absolutely.
That's what's up, man. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see artists make today?
Um, there's many. There's a lot
Mm.
of mistakes, I'm sure. I mean,